Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Mike back on Calypso for another video about our regular engine maintenance. It's a cold day here in the Chesapeake, so not a better time to continue working on our engine to get it ready for the next season. So stick around and we're going to get right to it. You'll notice that I've already moved the steps away to give us full access to the engine. The engine is a Yanmar 3JH3E 40 horsepower diesel. Yesterday we worked on the primary filter, the rate core fuel filter water separator. We did a complete breakdown of that filter and cleaned it, put it back together with a new filter. Today we're going to continue on and we're actually going to focus in on the secondary filter. We're going to get that changed and get those lines cleared. So as I mentioned earlier, we did a complete cleaning and reassembly of the rate core fuel filter water separator, and I'll put a link to that video down here in the corner. Today we're just going to be focusing on the secondary fuel filter, which is right here. We went ahead and turned off the fuel lines from the tank. I'm gonna take this, it's a 12 millimeter. This is the overflow, and we're just gonna loosen this up a little bit, see if we get any fuel out of there, which I don't expect we will. And then we'll go ahead and get this filter off. So I went ahead and put some towels down and a paper towel here so we can start working this filter off. I'm using a small filter wrench. Just going to start working this slowly. Should get to a point, there we go, it's pretty much broke free. I got a cup here in case there's a lot of fuel, but it's a good place to set it once you get it actually out. So we do have a little bit of fuel coming out. I'll go ahead and take this rest of the way off. It is going to be full of fuel, and we're just going to set it right into our cup here to minimize any spillage. Alright, easy enough. Alright, so we got our new filter here in the box. I'm going to go ahead and take off the plastic top. We're actually going to do a couple things. One is they recommend, okay, something kind of interesting. This one, as you might have seen in the earlier clip, the gasket is floating. So I got to be very careful when I put this on. But one of the things they recommend is to put in some diesel fuel around the outside just to lubricate this. Kind of like when you do an oil change. So we're going to do that. And then the other thing that we're going to do is, if you've ever primed these before, you know it can be a tedious task if you have a manual lever like I do. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize some clean diesel fuel and put in there, and that'll help us get through this priming process a lot faster. All right, filled this up, not quite full, because I do want to have some room for the fluid to come up and end up bubbling out of here. So we're going to show that in a second. We're going to take our almost full fuel filter, put it underneath here, make sure that gasket is staying in its spot, and then slowly spin it on here. Alright, I'm just going to go hand tight. That gasket feels good. Just a little bit further. And then we'll check that really close once we get up and running to make sure we don't have any leaks. Alright, now it's time to bleed the system. This is where the fun starts. This whole system now has to be reprimed. In order to do that, you have to work on this lever right down here, kind of in back of the engine, side of the engine, and you just push and prime. Now, I've already turned the valves back on to the main tank, so I'm able to draw from the main tank, but I'm going to continue to do this about 10,000 times until we start to see fuel come out of the screw that we loosened earlier. So I'll come back in a while and show you what that looks like. "15 minutes later, still after it." You can tell we're getting close. That bolt is moving every time I'm actuating the pump. We just want to make sure we have plenty of fuel coming through there and all the air has been bled out of this line. So it may take another few minutes, but we're getting close. Okay, I've loosened the bolt up just a little bit more and you can see the air actually coming out right now. So we're almost there. Very important to get all these bubbles out. All right, as I'm pumping, I'm going to go ahead. A couple more bubbles. I'm going to go ahead and screw this down tight. All right, that should do it. Okay, everything is back together. Now we're just going to do a test to make sure that everything is running. And then we'll go down and check for leaks. And let it run for a few minutes to make sure that we don't have any issues. Okay, everything seems to be checking out. Ran the motor for about a half an hour, got it up to temperature. Checked a few times to make sure that there was no leaks around the filter, especially with that gasket being a little bit different. But everything seems to be running well, and just peace of mind so that when I go on to the next maintenance item that I don't have to go back and rethink the fuel line if something goes wrong. So that's it for today, and yeah, hope to see you again soon. Thanks.